The first instalment, The Chronicles of Narnia, long awaited. I think they're going to do is it 7 altogether?
I think they're going to wait and see, because we spoke to William Moseley, who plays Peter, and he didn't really seem to know whether he was in the next one
or not,
or whatever.
Okay.
I think they're going to wait and see.
Okay, well, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is clearly the most famous one. Shot in New Zealand, like Lord of the Rings, actually shot at the same time as King Kong. Story of 4 kids evacuated from London to a country pile, from Finchley, in fact, to a country pile during the war. They discover a large wardrobe, to go through the wardrobe into the land of Narnia, in which it is winter but never Christmas, due to the reign of the Snow Queen, played by Tilda Swinton, who manages to seduce one of the children, effectively to betray his friends for sweeties.
What is your name, son of Adam?
Edmund.
And how, Edmund, did you come to enter my dominion?
I'm not sure. I was just following my sister.
Your sister? How many are you?
4. Lucy's the only one that's been here before. She said she met some faun called Tumnus. Peter and Susan didn't believe her. I didn't either.
Edmund, you look so cold. Come and sit with me.
Tilda Swinton is actually rather good. The rest of the cast, top quality sort of homegrown cast. Jim Broadbent as the Professor, Liam Neeson as the voice of Aslan the Lion, Ray Winston and Dawn French as the Beavers, Rupert Everett as the Fox, blah, 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 blah. Directed by the guy who directed the first Shrek movie, and so consequently, lots of cuddly, cute talking animals, which will be a hit with the younger viewers. It doesn't have any of the darkness of Lord of the Rings, or in fact of the later Harry Potter movies. It's very much playing to a younger audience, and within those sort of cute talking animals, they will get something out of it. Also, it is a good story. You really have to try quite hard to really damage the story of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. There's been a lot of stuff about the Christian allegory side of it, and clearly it is a Christian allegory. I mean, there is... I really don't think I'm giving anything away with this. Aslan is the Christ figure. Aslan has the death and resurrection scene, which is mounted in a very, very religious tableau, which specifically refers to the women watching and mourning while this stuff all happens. We have Edmund, who is either the sin of mankind, or is perhaps Judas in some interpretations. You have Peter, who is I feel like I'm filling in the obvious stuff, but it's all there. Now, there's been some discussion about, will younger kids get this? Well, if they've been to Sunday school and if they know anything at all about the biblical story, yes, they won't. Yes, they will. But, it is all there. The problem with it is it's just not great. Now, I didn't hear Jonathan Ross's review, so I don't know what he said, but it's not terrible by any means. It's just not very good. And the problems are, firstly, it's visually rather disappointing. I mean, in the age in which we now have, motion capture, performance capture, incredible CGI work, all that sort of thing, it is quite sad to see a movie which cannot get the lighting right between the interior and the exterior. There's that kind of Doctor Who thing that when they're in a forest and it's an interior, it's lit one way, then they walk about 5 paces, then they're an exterior shot and they seem to be on a different planet. They've never quite sorted that out. The other thing is the CGI animals are very, very cartoony, particularly the beavers, in a not particularly physical way. I mean, Ray Winston's voice is great, obviously, and, good vocal performances, but that's not enough. There is also an awful lot of sub-Lord of the Rings sweeping cinematography, particularly in the scenes of the battles, in which, actually, I have to say, to some extent, the same thing was true of Kingdom of Heaven, the Ridley Scott movie, although this is not in the same league as Kingdom of Heaven, in which you just think, I have seen those shots done much better, much more credibly, much more... I mean, once you've got to the end of The Lord of the Rings and you've had the storming of Hel's Deep, and you've had the orcs, and you've had that incredible onslaught, the real visual spectacle, it just looks a bit tacky. And I think for the younger viewers, that's not going to be a problem, because I think the younger viewers, they'll like the animals, they'll like the story, they'll like the kids, and the kids are charmingly enough played. I mean, obviously, they're playing in that very, very British way, and that's exactly...
And the youngest kid is supposed to be particularly...
She is, yeah, she's enchanting.
A scene stealer.
She is absolutely enchanting, but it's an enchanting role. That's the point is, it's a very, very well-written, enchanting role, and she does it well, and that stuff is all fine. And Tilda Swinton is very good as, the evil queen, because... As somebody else has pointed out, Tilda Swinton has got this kind of... There is a real archetypal quality to her. She's not so much a performer as a sort of presence. I mean, there is something very chilling about her when she does this role, and she does it very well. The main problem with the film is that in the end, it's too long. There could have been some compression of the story. I know, most of what happens in the film actually happens in the book anyway, but I think they should have cut it down slightly, because you really do get a sense halfway through that it is bagging down rather badly. It's aiming itself at a young audience who I think may get restless. And the spirituality that's in the original text, which people are getting terribly huffy about, hey, it's a Christian allegory, leave it alone, that's what it is. It is all there, but somehow the movie doesn't seem to quite have the weight to carry it off. So when you get, for example, to the scenes of Aslan's sacrifice, although they're actually physically rather well rendered, the digital work on Aslan, particularly on his mane, is very well done. It does feel a little pop video-ish. It's like I said, it's neither great nor bad. It's too long, it's a bit tacky, it's a bit clunky, but it's charming in its performances, particularly in the younger cast and in the performance by Tilda Swinton. And the story itself is, I would say, damn near indestructible. What it doesn't have is real solid heart and spirit. And I think that is a problem for the older viewers. So unlike Lord of the Rings, which I think was really, across the age boundaries, I think this is definitely a younger kids' movie.
Your mate Pete Bradshaw in The Guardian wrote... C.S. Lewis's blah, 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 blah. The result is a triumph, gorgeous to look at, superbly cast, wittily directed, funny and exciting by turns. And the reason I mention it is he says perhaps Mel Gibson would have preferred Aslan to be whipped with barbed wire for 30 minutes before the main event, but Adamson handles it with finesse.
Well, I disagree with that. PG contains mild threat, battle and fantasy violence is the BBFC's recommendation. And, obviously, if you know the story, you will understand that there is death and loss and tragedy, but there's also redemption in it. And I would say, clearly don't take incredibly young kids who are going to be really, really upset at the point at which Aslan dies. You might actually want to prime them in advance for the story that it's based on. It's okay, it has a happy ending. But, it's a PG movie, and it's definitely playing to the... I am surprised to hear anyone say that it's visually, what did you say, visually lovely or enchanting?
Gorgeous to look at, superbly cast, wittily directed, fun and exciting.
I think gorgeous to look at it certainly isn't. But hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I just happen to be right about this.